If you're working a full-time job, then this would be my recommendation for you on how you should go about a weight loss phase, okay? Now, I am Nathan, this is my current physique, and I am a health coach, health and performance coach for South Asian executives and entrepreneurs. So let's get started with the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is in terms of losing weight, not to give yourself a tiny little window. Like, I've had to stop doing these 30-day transformation periods because they're not healthy. So give yourself 6 to 12 months minimum, right? Because you want to give yourself enough time for this to be an actual lifestyle shift and not just another quick mini transformation that you do when you lose weight and then you end up putting it back on because you hated the process, right? Because what we tend to do is overestimate what we can do in 1 month, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. If you give yourself a long window, you give yourself time for things that you don't expect, you give time for adjustments to be made, and you don't put as much pressure on yourself, so you're way more likely to actually come out lean and shredded instead of being a mess in the brain, of not having no focus and just not enjoying the process as a whole, okay? Point number 2 is you want to start building structure for your meals. What you want to do is almost sacrifice flexibility just to get more structure in your life. That is because you've got a lot of commitments as a business owner, as a worker. You don't want to be spending more time making more decisions, right? We have this thing called decision fatigue, which occurs when we have to make more and more and more choices. So as we make more choices, imagine a battery is getting lower and lower and lower and lower, and we get to a point where we don't have much battery left, so we end up making stupid choices. So what we can do is keep the battery high by planning our meals in advance, in a sense where we know exactly what we're eating, when we're eating it, and how that's going to impact us. So if I was to give you an example of how you would build this on autopilot, number 1, what you want to do is figure out how many meals you want to eat per day. For example, I like eating 3 meals a day. You can, number 2, ask yourself if you want to have a period of fasting or not. So I intermittent fast, or I have my first meal around 12 to 1 p.m. So number 3, you can ask yourself is, what times a day do you want to eat? So for example, I'll eat my first meal at 12, second meal at 4, and third meal around 7, 8 p.m. And then number 4 is you want to eat the same meal plan for around 2 weeks and then switch it up, because at least you've got some sort of systemization going on, because you know, right, 4 p.m. is the same chicken meal, same chicken meal. Then you can just go and make the meal just like the same as you're brushing your teeth. That's where you want to get to. You want it to become a point of autopilot, right, where you don't need to think about it. Cool. Point number 3 is I want you to start walking. This is literally the number 1 exercise you can do to lose weight, and because it doesn't tax your central nervous system, right? Imagine that you've got to go and do a presentation and a meeting, but you've just smashed out a 2-hour leg day. By the time you get to that meeting, your brain will be absolutely destroyed. You can't focus, you can't think, right? And I get it. So what you want to do is use exercises like walking, which is so minimally taxing, but over a long time it can increase calories you burn, increase your metabolism, and it puts very, very minimal stress on your cognitive function for that period of time, right? So I want you to start, for example, with 5,000 steps a day, and I know it doesn't seem like much, but start building it into a routine, right? You can wake up in the morning and do it. You can do it while having a phone call with a mate or catch up. You can do it while having a business call with your team. Listen to a podcast. Or you can walk to the gym instead of driving there. So whatever you want to do, start to implement these 5,000 steps. So you can even do it bit by bit, right? You can do 1,000 in the morning, 1,000 at lunchtime, 2,000 in the evening, right? I don't know if that made the maths, but you know what I'm saying. So just you do that, right? Start to implement into your routine, and you'll find that it's a lot easier for you to lose the weight, okay? You can get up to the point where you're doing 10,000 steps a day, you are guaranteed, right? This is literally a guarantee, I'll stamp it for you. If you get to the point where you're doing 10,000 steps a day, you will lose weight. Cool. Now, point number 4 is I want you to introduce, if you can, something called a 4x4 training protocol, which I've invented. You're going to do 2 full body workouts per week, and within these 2 full body workouts, it's going to be 2 upper body exercises, 2 lower body exercises, and each of these exercises are going to be done for only 2 sets, right? But these 2 sets are not going to be like the normal 2 sets. They're going to be pushed to failure. So you literally cannot do any more reps in the tank, those 2 working sets, right? Now, you can progress this over the weeks with drop sets, rest pause training, supersets to really, really ramp up the intensity. But what we're doing here, essentially, we're trying to give you the highest amount of stimulation to compensate for a lack of volume, because we're not going to be hitting the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. We're just going twice. We want to make those sets as quality as possible. But a massive benefit of that is it's going to save you time, right? You're not going to have to spend as much time in the gym. But another added benefit is a psychological benefit, right? Imagine if I told you you've got 1 hour to make a presentation for your company. You're going to spend that hour you're not even going to waste a second, really. So that's the same way we do it. When we use this 4x4 training protocol, you realise, right, I've only got 2 sets. I'm only in here for about 40 minutes. So I'm not going to waste time doing stupid sets that are not actually going to push me forward. So you're going to use the time that you've got to really force the growth. But try these tips out and see what you think.